Hello and welcome to another episode of Dafuq Did I Just Watch? With your host as always, Kyle McLemore. This week we'll be asking the question, is it possible to make an entertaining movie about the creation of a shoe? That's right, we'll be recapping and reviewing Air. Now, before we get too far along in the review, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, as it's much appreciated and it keeps us alive here at Dafuq. And if you haven't seen Air and would still like to, make sure you pause now and return later, as there may be several spoilers up ahead. That's right, this is your official spoiler alert. Air is directed by Ben Affleck, and this isn't his first time in the director's chair. We've seen his work before with previous films like Gone Baby Gone, Argo, and The Town. And while this isn't his first time directing, it is his first time directing a film in this genre. It's less of a crime thriller and more of a biopic kind of drama with some comedy sprinkled in there as well. So it's a new sort of genre, a new sort of venture for Mr. Ben Affleck. Air has a star-studded lineup with Matt Damon in our lead role as Sonny Vaccaro. That's right, he's our basketball guru. He's the guy who's pursuing Michael Jordan for Nike. There's also a great supporting cast with Jason Bateman, Chris Tucker, the amazing Viola Davis, and of course, Ben Affleck pulling double duty, not only directing the film, but also stars in it as well as Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. Air is the story of the great pursuit between Nike and Michael Jordan. And while there are elements of this story that are extremely compelling, it is a true-to-life story involving possibly the most iconic shoe of all time, also involving the greatest basketball player of all time. Those elements are extremely compelling, but it begs the question, is it compelling enough to make a entertaining 2-hour movie? Air reunites one of Hollywood's dynamic duos, that is Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and they're both doing a great job in this film, both giving great performances that you would expect from such seasoned veterans. But if anybody's doing like the real heavy lifting in this film, it's probably Jason Bateman. He's lifting all the emotion of this movie. And it's mostly because he's the one with like the real stakes in the game. Like he's the one kind of there to remind Matt Damon like, hey, if this deal doesn't go through, it's no biggie for you. You're just like, okay, well that deal didn't work out. Hey, that's what happens to me. I lose everything. I lose my job. I lose my money. I lose my daughter, who I see for like an hour every Sunday. Jason Bateman is like the real emotional like grounding in this movie. Like he is like the lifeline that we're holding on to, that has like any stakes in the game, that has like a real risk in this game. The amazing Viola Davis popping up in Air, as well as the mother of the great Michael Jordan. She was actually brought on special request, like Michael Jordan specifically wanted Viola Davis to play his mom, and what an amazing selection it is. If you could get one person to play your mom, having the greatest actress of all time, not a bad choice. I will admit there was like a little bit of weirdness that I get with Viola Davis now. Ever since I saw her in The Woman King, it is so impossible to see her just like in 90s jeans and a t-shirt now. I just imagine her just being shredded and just like Matt Damon walking up to her like, hey, Mrs. Jordan, and her just like flipping him over. Like I after seeing her in The Woman King, I can only see Viola Davis as just like shredded, kicking everyone's ass. Some really great performances in this film, as well as the aesthetic all throughout the movie is really great. It's set mid-80s, and all the clothes, cars, sunglasses, hairstyles, that all matches, and it just helps to give you the vibe of just being there in the 80s. And although the subject matter of Air might not be the most compelling or the most action-packed, it is still interesting enough to keep you watching the film. Affleck does a good job of keeping the momentum going all throughout the movie. And so let's hit Air with our overall rating. Overall, really wonderful performances from these amazing actors. Also set in a really fun time period, really nostalgic, all these colors, all these interesting fashion. And then it's also got the greatest basketball player, Michael Jordan. And yet, all those scenes combined together is not quite enough to escape the fact that it's just a movie about shoes. It's just a movie about making a shoe. And at the end of the day, how crazy entertaining can that be if you're not like a crazy sneakerhead? We're gonna have to hit Air with a solid C+. If you felt differently about Air, make sure you comment down below. And if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button, as it's much appreciated. I am your host as always, Kyle McLemore, and we'll see you next time at the movies.